Joining me now from InnovaDerma is Harris Chaudhry and Kieran Callan. Gentlemen, fabulous to have you in the studio.
Good to be
Thank
back.
So let's start with you, Harris. An exciting year of growth for InnovaDerma. Can you tell us the highlights?
Sure, we actually had a solid year. Our revenues grew year on year around just over 20%. So we recorded £10.7 million of revenue. The underlying profit came to £0.67 million, which is a bit below last year. But most of that is the investment that has gone into developing and launching new brands. So we are quite confident on that investment, which we are going to materialize or monetize in this new financial year. Our cash balances were around £2 million, circa £2 million when we finished the last year. So the requirements that we have for business as usual could easily be met with existing cash, and the company has no debt.
Well, that's a very good position to be in also. You did mention new brands coming out, but let's talk about your core brand, Skinny Tan. How's that doing?
Skinny Tan is performing strongly. It's performed strongly last year. Especially we were focusing on introducing new brands. We have introduced 3 new sub-brands: Skinny Tan Face, Bum Booster, and Skin Blur. Now, those 3 sub-brands essentially transition the brand from a tanning-only brand to a beauty brand. And those 3 were launched in the last quarter. So as a direct result of the launch of those brands and our DTC, our year-on-year revenue for April, May and June was the highest ever. Highest monthly revenue, highest quarterly revenue. We were up around 36% year-on-year on the quarter. And I think most of the impact of those new brands extending Skinny Tan from a tanning to beauty would be evidenced in the new financial year. So quite a lot of growth, and we are quite excited.
Also, your hair care brand Roots seems to be doing really well. A lot of that due to fantastic distribution through Superdrug, Boots, also Tesco.
Yeah, look, Roots been a really good, fast-growing success story. Again, we developed the brand in-house in a record time. We launched it in August in Superdrug in around circa just under 400 odd stores. And over the last financial year, since it was launched, we've done close to £1 million in revenue, which is very strong. We launched initially with 5 product lines. We have increased it to 9, and the plan is to more than double the product lines this financial year. So it's on a significant growth trajectory. Now, since then, the brand has gone into Boots, which was a significant coup. We have landed we've landed Tesco on 432 stores, and Superdrug decided, based on the excellent performance, it's going to double the range, gives us a lot more deeper distribution. So essentially, we have gone from the last financial year, roughly 400 odd doors, by November, we had been 1,600. So the excellent performance, people investment, time investment, and the marketing that went behind Roots is the evidence is that the brand the retail footprint would quadruple in November, and off the back of that, we're expecting excellent traction.
So what about some of your other brands at InnovaDerma? Charles & Lee, Stevie K Cosmetics, are they doing equally as well?
Look, they actually came in a lot late in the equation. Charles & Lee, we announced with the trading statement that it is making very good progress. We had a number of SKUs, a number of product lines. We have significantly increased and enhanced those. We introduced a new shaving range, and in fact, the brand had gone from 30 to 46 stores in Myer, which is Australia's largest department stores. We've gone into Terry White, hundreds of stores there, which is happening now, which is a significant win. And we have also just been confirmed by Australia's largest beauty retailer, Priceline, that the brand is going in there as well. So we are quite excited by the fast trajectory of growth for Charles & Lee, and we are very focused on taking that to UK, Europe and North America. Stevie K Cosmetics, again, a very good brand, but given we have got so much happening within Skinny Tan, introducing new sub-brands, Roots, its growth, prolonged launch, and all of those challenges, we have actually decided that we are going to wait for an ideal time to launch Stevie K Cosmetics when we know that we can monetize it very quickly. So that's on wait for a little while.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on that back burner. You did touch on it there. Prolong was launched in May, caused quite a lot of action on the markets. How's it tracking now?
Yeah, well, it actually did. Prolong is the world's only FDA-cleared medical device for PE in men. We teamed up with a very well-known marketing agency. We developed a platform so that we can address sexual health for men in a more informal manner. It's called smilingdick.com. Now, the campaign went very well. May and June, we sold a modest number of devices, but we started experiencing battery issues with some of the units. Now, given that it's FDA cleared and it's TGA cleared in Australia and all, we were very mindful that even a small proportion of the devices, if they are experiencing a very small battery issue, that we need to go back to the drawing boards very quickly. We stopped all marketing for the product in July. We've gone back and found a new manufacturer, a much more larger manufacturer, and we are able to bring the cost of production down by over 40%, which means that in the meantime, we had the product approved through Japanese FDA and the process of getting it through to Chinese FDA and Indian FDA. The strategy is we have developed massive amount of good quality collateral and campaign. We are going to relaunch it with reduced price of goods, and then we are going to take it to multiple new markets, including Europe and UK, as we launch the process of getting the CE completed.
Harris, fantastic to hear that all those brands under InnovaDerma's umbrella are doing so well. I have to turn now to Kieran and of course bring up the fact that after many years on the board, you've decided to take up the reins as CEO, relocate yourself from Melbourne to London. Tell us about this move.
Okay, well, I was in the privileged position, as you say, of having been a non-executive director on the board for a number of years, and that gave me really good insights into the potential of the business and I suppose where it could go. And when Harris spoke to me and invited me to consider taking on the CEO role, I suppose I couldn't help myself. And believed it was a fantastic time to get involved in, I suppose, that next evolution of the business, or the potential that sits within the business. And originally being from the UK, returning home, it was a pretty easy decision, to be honest.
I'm happy to hear it. And can you tell us how the next financial year is already shaping up, given all these product launches, significant news and the retail wins?
I think the balance of this year really is all about execution, because as Harris has already said, the NPD essentially is complete. There's a number of discussions on foot with retailers as we speak to roll out distribution. We have regulatory approvals in a number of international markets and new distributors being appointed. So really it's all about completing that execution to a very high standard and really delivering on the potential that's pretty much already in the bag.
So what are your key priorities moving forwards, really to reframe ID in the minds of investors, institutional and retail, to win back a bit of confidence after a bit of a hiccup there with Prolong?
Well, I think I mentioned that quality of execution, and look, we know we're going to create demand, and one of the big imposts on any fast-growing business is being able to meet and service that demand. So a lot of our focus is around making sure that the whole of our supply chain, not just the sales and marketing end of our business, is delivering. So that's manufacturing, that's logistics, literally from end to end. So that's very much a focus as we roll out this successive NPD. I think the other thing that we should bear in mind, and literally this is just hot off the press, is that we've just had confirmed that Skinny Tan is going into Boots, 1,250 stores. Now that's a fantastic win in and of itself, but I think the important thing that really highlights is that Boots, as a very large sophisticated retailer, is not just looking at a brand opportunity, but clearly has significant consumer insights that it's bringing to bear and has recognised that Skinny Tan can offer it something that frankly it doesn't have. And then that's underpinned, when I think about it, by our D2C business. Now, what we've done literally in the last few weeks is we've consolidated the D2C team in Australia. Already having all of that team in one place has released a huge amount of energy. And the great thing about our D2C business is it enables us to speak directly to our consumer, and then we can take those insights and feed that back into how we nurture and develop our brands. And the other thing, which I think is a key highlight for the business, is we know that as we grow that D2C business, we get a wash-on effect back into our retail business. So it's kind of a virtuous circle.
Well, we love to get our news hot off the press. Thanks for sharing that with us, Kieran. Finally, Kieran, Harris, moving forwards, what are these big milestones for your investors moving forwards?
I think markets have got a number there. The estimate when we did a trading statement in June, the estimate or the guidance to the market was that £14 million turnover, circa £1.6 million. Now, given the experience over the last, I'd say, especially from the beginning of this year, in terms of the profit projections, we would rather err on the side of caution. We're conservative, and we would leave the guidance there as is, and for various reasons. However, if you look at the business and the growth and what has happened since then, there are 3 or 4 key areas, which is that Roots delivered circa just under £1 million of revenue within one financial year. Vast majority of that came from one client, Superdrug, where Roots was around in 400 stores. We're going from 400 to 1,600 retail doors in November. That's what's already been confirmed. Obviously, we are talking to more. On Skinny Tan front, thanks, Kieran, for informing. We found out just yesterday that Skinny Tan would be ranged in circa 1,250 stores in Boots. Now, that is a massive outcome for our largest brand, given that we had been making excellent progress from Superdrug and from a DTC channel. Now, DTC channel went up circa 35% just in the last quarter during the peak tanning season. If you layer in this existing distribution we have at Superdrug, add another circa 1,200 plus Boots stores, just within UK, it gets us into more than 2,000 stores just in UK. So we'd actually leave that feedback in the market without any changes to our guidance. But the important facts are that Roots is in growth stage. We expect Roots product lines to more than double this financial year. Skinny Tan's 3 new brands were launched in the last quarter. We'd see its true impact this year. Skinny Tan is going to be in Boots, which is a massive coup for us. So I think all of those would be the catalyst for this year to be a very defining year for InnovaDerma. And I think Kieran being in UK with his massive 3 decades of experience in FMCG and retail and banking, he would be the main catalyst in ensuring the execution is to the standards that the shareholders expect, and that we deliver a fantastic performance this year.
Yeah, well, thanks for the glowing reference, Harris. That much appreciated. I think the other thing that people have to appreciate is with that win within Boots for Skinny Tan, between Boots and Superdrug, essentially you've got the vast majority of the tan market covered as far as the UK is concerned. So it gives us a really fantastic rounded market position. I think the other thing which I know people have been aware of and now has been significantly addressed is what was the historic seasonality in the business. So the reality is, as Roots rolls out, as the NPD of Skinny Tan rolls out, the categories that we're now playing in are not in any way seasonal the way Skinny Tan is. So we end up with a much more predictable, robust run rate revenue stream, which is great for any business. So you have, I suppose, far less oscillations in terms of the way the business performs. So when I look at it, as Harris says, we're not looking at changing the guidance, but I think we've got lots of very good reasons to be confident that the guidance we have given, we can deliver on.
That's very exciting to hear for all your investors, I'm sure. Gentlemen, thank you so much for all of those updates on all of those areas. Really busy time at InnovaDerma, it seems, so I do hope that you'll come back and keep us in the loop.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much, Daniel.
Thank you.